What's going on with Rick Allen? Is he a guilty man making slip-ups? Having a guilty conscience? Is he an innocent man having a breakdown due to the stress of it and the conditions he has been kept in? Or is he a clever, conniving man who is faking a mental health crisis? Is it something else? What do you guys think? And the more important question, how do you think a jury will see it at trial? I think I might be the only one, I'm definitely in the minority, that wasn't very excited about what came out during the week in court. Some people are calling it a bombshell. I don't see it as that at all. Yeah, it feels like a win for the prosecution right now. It's all anyone is talking about. However, like when this is flushed out at trial, I think it's going to help the defence's story in a way. Help them to paint a picture of an innocent man going through hell, having his civil rights stripped away, and someone whose head is gone, and someone who is questioning reality. And I'll admit, there has been moments where I question his innocence, and if they got the right guy here, innocent until proven guilty, right? And then you find yourself thinking about how he has been treated, how he has been processed through the system. It's an uncomfortable spot, finding yourself feeling sorry for someone who is charged with such a crime. I don't stay there long. The thing for me that snaps me out of that and stops me from feeling any empathy really for Richard is going off what we are told in the arrest warrant. I do believe he is bridge guy. Not going off eyewitness descriptions other than the fact that they saw a man, and Richard himself said he saw certain people. And that's the thing, like Richard placing himself there. For me, that's the biggest piece of evidence. It's Richard's own words putting himself there that day. I also think though that the defence has a good chance of causing confusion to a jury around this and other things that maybe are in the discovery that we don't know about yet that might change people's thoughts. But I do, based off what we know right now, struggle to see any world where Richard Allen is not BG, and by extension not the person who kidnapped the girls and took them down the hill. And that action alone of taking them down the hill covers the charges. So I'm hoping for a conviction here. I want some nice evidence to support the state's theory, whatever that is. I don't really trust the people handling this case to get a conviction. Too many mistakes. Worry about the judge who signed the initial warrants. It's politics at play. But obviously there's loads of people involved who have good intentions and want justice for Abby and Libby. But back to court this week. It seems like a big win for the prosecution. People are swooning over McLeland and everyone talking about Richard's confessions. Short term, I think it feels nice if you just take it at face value. Oh yes, they definitely got the right guy. Don't worry about it. He confessed 6 times. Nobody would do that if they didn't. But like I said, when this gets to a jury and a trial, I think it's going to go to supporting the defence and their story. They'll want to show it as an innocent man having a mental health breakdown and losing his mind, wanting to end it all. And I believe the defence is in a better position to spin it in their favour. I always try to imagine how it will be presented to a jury, how it will come out in a trial. This will probably be later on in the trial after the jury has been fatigued from listening to stories about Ron Logan, about the Kleins, about the many, many mistakes in the investigation over the years. And the question they'll be asking themselves is why would a guilty Richard Allen confess? And why would an innocent Richard Allen confess? It is kind of obvious, but also worth remembering that Richard Allen has pleaded not guilty and has been interrogated and interviewed hard multiple times. And a sane Richard Allen can change his plea and make a full confession at any time. He has not done that. When he was moved to Westville, he wrote a letter to the judge, came across very sane in that, was making comments about his worries for his wife and the fact that she had to leave her job and leave the home and all that, begging and pleading for help. and thrown himself at the mercy of the courts. Since then, for the last 8 months, Richard has been kept in solitary confinement in Westville prison. Many people feel that there's no way he should be in a prison at this stage. He should be in a jail. The state's argument for keeping him there is the obvious one because of what he's charged with, crimes against children. He's a target and other prisoners want to get at him, so he's there for his own safety. Alan's defence is like nonsense. He should be in the local jail. They can handle him no problem. Life for Richard at Westville prison isn't very nice. It's a fairly notorious prison. He's spent 8 months now in solitary confinement for his own protection. His mental and physical health appears to have deteriorated significantly. He's 23 hours a day, kept in a 6 by 10 foot cell. He was placed on suicide watch. He started receiving medication for his mental health. I think he's seen his wife once during this time. He's under video surveillance 24/7. His attorneys say that they're struggling to communicate with him now. When they go to meet him, he's just not there. And even with his wife, early on in court dates, he was greeting his wife when he seen her. Recently, he didn't even acknowledge that she was there. Many reporters saying he just looks like no one's home. We were told he has made 5 or 6 incriminating statements. We have no context for this at all. We have the prosecution saying this happened, the defence acknowledging some of it but saying, yeah, there's a good reason for that, we'll explain all that. And again, no effort to make an actual confession or change his plea or anything like that. We have no context for the situation when this was said. We don't know who he said it to. We don't know, did he say anything that would only be known to the killer? Doubt it. Was he trying to antagonise someone into hurting him maybe? Was he on any medication, any new medication prior to making these statements? What did he has medical supervision at the moment? What did they say about his mental health at the time these statements were made? Was he in the middle of what his defence or a mental health expert might consider a breakdown or a mental health episode? The prison warden referenced one episode in his cell where Richard broke the tablet that he has to... He said they can listen to music or watch movies on it. But like, what happened here? Richard obviously got angry or had a breakdown or something happened. And I just can't help but feel when all those questions are filled in at trial, this will have a jury believing that this is an innocent man having a complete breakdown, question reality, and not this is a guilty man making slip-ups. The speculation is at least one of those incriminating comments was made to a family member on the phone. His family obviously don't believe any of these comments he's making. They're sticking by him. They're standing by him. They're in court every time. And I believe something like this will be just really strong pulling kind of testimony at trial. If you have a family member up in the stand saying that Richard made these comments to me on the phone because he was completely breaking down. He was trying to push me away, worried about me. You'll easily get a mental health expert to say that these comments were Richard completely giving up, trying to push his family away in order to protect them, to make life easier for them because they're struggling too. Like, would a guilty man really be making these type of slip-ups? It has to be, he's recorded 24/7. He knows the phone calls to his family are recorded. He doesn't interact with other prisoners, so it's not a secret recording, honest conversation type. These are just comments made by Richard. I don't think it is a guilty man making slip-ups or having a guilty conscience. I believe it's either an innocent man having a breakdown due to the stress of it and the conditions he's kept in and just completely wanting out, or else he is playing it's all for fools, manipulating his family, has his defence wrapped around his finger and completely faking a mental health crisis to benefit his defence. Because if you're a guilty man who suddenly has a guilty conscience after all these years and wants to confess and take the stress of a trial away from his family and just get it over and done with, then you can do it. Like, he can just confess. He can change his plea. He hasn't done that. And if the prosecution, which is kind of expected now, will make a really big deal about all this at the trial, I think it will backfire, because I think that will turn into just lots of talk about Richard Allen's health and the conditions, and his family talking about their interactions with him and the impact of all this on him, which then will run the risk of the jury just suddenly feeling sorry for him or having empathy, and that might change how they view some of the other evidence. I don't know, maybe I'm just overly pessimistic about everything. Let me know what you think. Good luck, God bless. I hope everyone has a nice day.